A, Byron Donalds made himself look like a criminal with this horrible photo. B, one of his BFFs is literally a criminal, illegal alien caught dealing. Is Lion Byron going to defund himself? What? A criminal illegal? Not Byron. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Hey Byron, is this your man's?
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47 years.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
One political concession. Name one political concession.
Hey, whoa,
honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
everybody,
in my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
I had a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else in the world.
So you can't answer the question.
That is
I would get mad too.
That was teaching tape, wasn't it? That was, hey, shout out to Adam Mockler. He didn't get triggered. And he sat there and let him melt down and got the last word. Mwah. That was chef's kiss. Hit me with a, get your finger out of my face. Can we get a freeze frame on how far his finger was away from his face when he said that? Yeah. That's the preppy equivalent of hold me back. Hold me back. Hold me back. You didn't want no smoke. None at all. And the crazy thing is CNN gonna put him right back on TV like we didn't see what we just saw. Like we didn't just see him completely undressed. Yeah, they're gonna put him right back on TV. And I was just playing with you, Byron. I know that's not your man's because he'll defend just about anything right wing, but not you though, Byron. But not you though. Which is interesting on a number of levels because if I was Caroline Leavitt, I would be asking for a cut of Scott Jennings' check. All these right-wingers that go on cable news and just regurgitate administration talking points, they're not gonna say nothing different than what the Trump administration is saying, and they have a whole job of somebody to give you their talking points. What's the value if you know he's not going to deviate from the administration at all? I don't understand that. That's like calling her girlfriend to ask where she was at last night while they together at her place. You know you got to isolate her for that conversation. This ain't our first rodeo. Ain't that right, Byron? Ain't that right, Byron? DC and Florida GOP insiders claim that Florida gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds has an open relationship, or at minimum, a tacit agreement with his wife Erica Donalds to tolerate his extramarital affairs. Now, is this retroactive? Because I know how y'all got together when she sent the Valentine's Day thing, so you know what I mean? Hey, they say how you get them is how you lose them, so I guess she went in with her eyes wide open. Donalds is known to have begun courting his wife Erica whilst married to his previous wife. Erica Donalds is said to have significantly benefited from her position as a congresswoman in Florida, positioning herself as an education advocate. Oh, that is correct. Benefited herself? We've documented that here before. Firms belonging to the wife of Representative Donalds grabbed millions of dollars and charter school contracts. This from the Florida Bulldog. For years, Erica Donalds used her perch atop the nonprofit Optima Foundation, not to mention her marriage to U.S. Rep Byron Donalds, now a top contender for governor and CEO of Beijing, to make herself a force in Florida's charter school movement. But materials filed with Florida's Auditor General show how in recent years, the foundation lost multiple contracts with its signature classical academies over what the schools alleged were faulty accounting practices, and still more contracts that switched over to for-profit companies that Donalds owns herself. What? That's crazy. Not Erica Donalds. No, you mean the same lady that's married to the guy who didn't file his stocks? What? Oh, man. That's cool. Who would have thought?
I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no.
Donald's longtime political friend Cory Mills is rumored to be expelled from the House soon for, among many things, alleged improprieties. On at least one occasion, an apparently intoxicated Mills and Donalds can be seen together. Part of what insiders allege is a regular late night between the pair, who are said to travel without their rings. What? Donalds traveling without his ring? You know, they be charging extra for carry-on luggage these days, so you gotta pack light. You know what I mean? I feel you on that, Byron. Ain't no extra baggage. Well, let me look at that picture right now. Yep, I don't see no ring. That's you with your boy Cory. Oh, that's right. Y'all know Cory Mills, right?
Cory Mills, a Maga Republican in the House from Florida, beat up his girlfriend, was about to be arrested, but then got special treatment. Because, of course, a lieutenant stepped in, and then Eagle Ed Martin, who was the interim U.S. attorney at that time, refused to issue an arrest warrant. The cops showed up, the officer on scene saw this girl with all kinds of bruises on her body. And by the way, this is Cory Mills, has got a history doing this, all right? He's got one restraining order on him, and he's also, had other issues with revenge porn, being physically abusive. By the way, he's married and then has multiple girlfriends in different states who are like half his age, in their 20s. It's just ridiculous. And, on both parties, they have people who do bad things, but at least Democrats hold them accountable like we did with Eric Swalwell. But here, all Trump cared about was making sure they keep up their numbers in the House. That's it. The same thing they did with Gonzalez in Texas, who's, staffer he had an affair with while they were both married, while he had multiple kids. Then she set herself on fire. And what did they do? Nothing. For months and months and months, until Swalwell basically was forced to resign by Democrats right away after the allegations against him came out. And then they said, well, we can trade one number for another. So that's the only reason he left. This is a pattern with Republicans. This is who they are. They have a rapist as a president, and that's all they care about.
D.C. police responding to a domestic call documented that Rep Cory Mills, on a phone call with the victim, instructed her to lie about where her bruises came from. Officers listened. They still sent an arrest warrant. Trump's U.S. attorney for D.C., Ed Martin, who calls himself President Trump's lawyer, refused to sign it. A supervisor reclassified the assault as a family disturbance. The arresting officer told the victim on body cam, I have bosses making this into a family disturbance instead of an actual domestic assault. MPD Internal Affairs opened an investigation into its own handling of the case. The criminal probe was later closed. The House Ethics Committee investigation remains open. Ah, that's right. Now, a couple of things. Number one, Republican family values strikes again. Am I right? Yeah, that's it. Republican family values. And also, point two, they like to tell me that violence is something that we have a lockstep on, right? And you talking about a whole congressman out here acting like this, and they cover it. Wow. Byron, this your man's, huh? Then there's a text between Mills and Donalds implying a promise for the AG job if he's elected governor. Whistleblower alert. Sources say candidate Byron Donalds cannot swim. It may not be water, but bro swims. Oh yeah, that's right, Byron. They still on your helmet.
Byron promised to be upfront about his criminal record, and instead, he disclosed only a third-degree felony for financial crimes, but left out the more serious second-degree felony, which in some cases carries up to 15 years in prison. Years later, he admitted he wasn't just possessing drugs. When Jim DeFeeti called him out, he admitted to selling them. Look, hard times don't define anybody. I am here because God gives us the ability for redemption, and I appreciate that. But if you only admitted what happened after you got called out on media, that is not the same thing. Byron Donalds sold drugs to people, to children, and now he believes he's fit to be the governor of the state of Florida.
He not fit, Jay Collins. They saying he can't even swim in Florida.
This is not a risk that we can afford to take here in Florida. And it's why these issues matter. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the rumors and the chatter surrounding his conduct. We all have. What I know is often when you see smoke, there are embers or there are fire. But the record that is already out there shows a heck of a lot of smoke.
Gloves come off. Jay Collins takes big swipe at Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds sold drugs to people, children. Collins is dumping entire Oppo file on Donalds. Collins is not quitting the race. Hey, it's not just children. Some of them people were fathers and mothers. Fathers and mothers that he sold, and some of them people went to church. Have been to a church. Some of those people had been to a church, so it was church members breaking up the church. Church members. I'm pretty sure some of them had cousins, and y'all know we all love our cousins. Yeah, I love my cousins, right? We all love our cousins. Cousins. He sold to cousins. I bet a couple of them had jobs, and y'all know that one person at your job who, covers for you, and that person that is a shoulder to lean on. That's who we sold to. Don't forget neighbors. I love my neighbors. If they pull my trash out when I'm on vacation and collect my mail, walk the dog, neighbors. He sold to neighbors. More offensive than that is how he bent over for Republicans who tried to erase black history. Donalds defended Florida's 2023 African American history standards, which included a vile, controversial line about personal benefits of slavery. He turns a blind eye to MAGA Republicans' vile racism and bigotry as he willingly accepts his position as a political pawn. Donalds, simply put, is a moron who asserted in 2024 that black families were together and better off during the Jim Crow era. But beyond that, he has done absolutely nothing to benefit Florida other than to affirm its status as a laughingstock and a punchline. He has neglected his district's recovery from hurricanes, voted against FEMA funding, and environmental issues like the red tide, choosing instead to focus on nationwide appearances as a Trump stooge. Well, he didn't say nothing wrong, Byron. Yeah, it sounds terrible when you put it in a tight paragraph like that, but that's basically what we all see. That's we've been telling you about that. And we also told you it was just a matter of time for the people on your side of the aisle started to come at you in a similar fashion. And when I say, is this your man's, it's a lot there. A, Byron Donalds made himself look like a criminal with this horrible photo. B, one of his BFFs is literally a criminal, illegal alien caught dealing. Is Lion Byron going to defund himself? What? A criminal illegal? Not Byron. Pal of Trump back star facing deportation after coke bust. A friend and political ally of Rep Byron Donalds was detained by ICE at a probation hearing. A close friend of the Donald Trump-backed MAGA star aiming to be the next governor of Florida is fighting deportation after a DUI arrest. Byron Donalds' pal and political ally Pat Gira, a businessman from Naples, Florida, who co-founded the Collier County Young Republicans with the Florida Representative, 47, was arrested in December 2023 and charged with possession with intent to sell and distribute and with DUI. The arrest was covered in the media. Having pleaded no contest to both counts, the DUI resulted in a guilty adjudication and the cocaine charge was adjudicated withheld. ICE detained Giro on February 10th this year while he was reporting to his probation officer. Punch Up reported as he was allegedly living in the country illegally. Maga, we got one. We got one. Byron Mans. Yeah, it was Byron's Mans. Ooh, Byron, that's tough, boy. Not just living in the country illegally, but out here dealing. Ain't this who Trump be talking about? And all, like when he just be inventing scenarios. He talking about Byron. I think he pulling from his imagination. He talking about Byron and his crew the whole time. Who knew? A GoFundMe organized on behalf of Donald's senior political advisor, Larry Wilcoxon, titled Help Bring Pat Giro Back Home, states Giro had moved to the United States at age 5 from the Czech Republic. He was held at Chrome North SPC in Miami, with the GoFundMe stating he was due to be transferred to his sister facility, Alligator Alcatraz. Now, help me with this one. Is your reasoning that he isn't fit for Alligator Alcatraz? Why? Because y'all dismiss anybody else's justification for being here. So I'm curious where y'all gonna go with this one. Nowhere good, I can tell you that. Last July, Donald stood alongside Trump at Alligator Alcatraz, a notorious Everglades immigration jail, as the president declared, very soon this facility will house some of the most menacing migrants, some of the most vicious people on the planet. You mean like the kind selling to neighbors and cousins and church members? You mean like that? Breaking up the neighborhood? And now that I think about it, Larry Wilcoxon, I know that name. Now that's definitely your man's, Byron's, and we've talked about him before. Tell me who you associate with and I'll tell you who you are. As a sitting U.S. Congressman, Byron Donalds had a career criminal advising him, which says a lot about his character. Byron Donalds is not the kind of leader Florida needs for our great state.
Byron Donalds' closest advisor, a man that he calls his brother, was arrested for assault of a minor and later pleaded guilty to assaulting another woman and was charged with multiple other violent felonies. Those are the people he chooses to have around him. And despite that record, Donalds not only kept him on the payroll, paying him more than $400,000 in campaign funds as recently as last year, but as a senior advisor. A career criminal advising a sitting U.S. congressman. That raises serious questions about judgment. It gets worse. Donalds was one of only 28 members of Congress and one of just 2 in Florida to vote against a bipartisan bill to improve how the FBI investigates child abuse and trafficking. Seriously.
A career criminal? Not Byron. Jay Collins just sung Byron Donalds' run for governor at his press conference this morning. The truth's coming out about Byron, and it's not good. Oh, wow. This is out here looking bad. They talking about your stock trades. And here we get to Wilcoxon. Larry Wilcoxon was a senior advisor as recently as last year, paid over $400,000. And he was arrested for assault and wow. This is your man's. Byron, I said wow for the people, for the new people on the channel. I already knew about that. We did a whole video all about that. So yeah, now they know. Now everybody knows. This is out here looking bad. This is out here. You got the Cory Mills situation, and then you got the other situation with the Alligator Alcatraz, and that. Apparently you in a situationship at home like this. Come on, dog. Literally, what is every accusation is an admission? It's never Never been more accurate than this one. Never been more accurate. No, I don't think you should focus on the issues. The issues ain't in your favor right now, Byron.
Congressman, do you think Donald Trump has delivered on his promise to lower prices?
Yeah, he actually has. I know gas prices are a little bit higher because of what's happening in Iran, but across the country, a lot of prices actually have stabilized. I think, inflation's hard, but I remember where we were with the Biden administration. We had airline tickets jumped 50%. It was insane. So, he's doing a great job. We need, the other side of the aisle to come and help us just do common sense business. But President's doing great.
If it were a report card, what grade would you give him on the economy?
Oh, he gets an A.
An A?
Yeah.
Got it.
Those the kind of grades they was giving out to you when you was in, is that how you made it through? I figured. I figured. Because it was a bad look for the schools of Florida that you had gotten a whole degree. So now that makes a whole lot more sense right now. Well, look, now I'm not gonna argue with you. That's fine. If this economy is an A, I just want MAGA to grapple with that. I want the people of Florida to grapple with that. This is an A. So you can certainly expect more of an A economy. Am I right? Byron, why you think that was going to fly? Come on, dog. You know what I mean? Like nobody was going to see you out with Cory Mills. He reminds me of a younger, more corrupt Tim Scott. That's wrong. That's wrong. No, because Byron was out there. Byron out there too much. Tim Scott not out there enough. Byron was running the streets. That's one thing we know about Byron. So I got to defend him on that one. If the Trump economy is what Donalds gives an A, I'd hate to see what he considers an F. Probably something I can't talk about on the channel is what he would consider an F. Ask Cory Mills about that. What a delusional lying piece of from Martina Navratilova. Byron, you better return serve. This is a double fault right here. And I need to understand why. Are you at least getting a bag to be out here sounding like this? Because they caught your man's Gunther, who I know that's your man's. From Gunther Eagleman, prices will come back down. Trust Trump. Paid partners. Byron, please tell me you get in the bag. Or at least some stock tips or something. I mean, come on. I know that Beijing is expensive. What else you buying in there? Big boy Byron Donalds, who looks like he's on Ozempic now, probably sporting a full diaper of diarrhea, has his head up his butt. Well, probably up Trump's butt. Gas is 5.79 cents a gallon in Seattle. Byron, you on Ozempic? You on Ozempic? We ain't seen no exercise photos. We've never seen no exercise photos. They said you can't swim, so I know that's a lie. So Donalds is a reliable source for nothing except how to score a dime bag or rip off a bank. You knew that was coming. You knew that was coming. Oh no, it gets worse. Hey Florida, this liar wants to be your next governor. If you thought DeSantis was bad, wait until this convicted felon is elected governor. Byron Donalds has a history of drug dealing and felony bank fraud. Only in the GOP would Donalds even be competitive. He picked the right one. He definitely picked the right party and the right time to literally elevate all those things. If Big Lazy, the woke stock trader, is the nominee, expect this clip to run 24/7 if things don't improve. The Dems won't hit him on George Floyd and Trayvon as they are on the same side, but this ain't gonna play well with NPAS. Big Lazy, the woke stock trader. That was a hard R, wasn't it? That was a hard R. That was a lot of words. That was a lot of words, but that was a hard R. No, this is your people. This is your people. Today's a good day to remind Florida and the country that Byron Donalds made a St. George Floyd video, and 6 years later, after the trial and all the evidence, it's still up. Byron, only you could create a scenario where you get dragged for the bare minimum of defending black life from the right wing after a history of whitewashing just about all of the worst impulses of the right wing and infuriating the left and all people with operable brains. Only you. Oh, and there's the tap dancing. We knew that was coming. That's exactly how you look. That's exactly how you look. And with constantly bringing up Trump, here's exactly how you sound.
Here's the truth, Kentucky. I'm the biggest Trump guy there is. I haven't just agreed with all of Trump's policies. I pre-agree with everything Trump says. First thing each morning when I wake up is I spray myself with the smell of Trump's farts. All my passwords are just Trump1, repeated 47 times. I'm such a big Trump guy that I changed all my kids' names to Donald. Even my daughter. Especially my daughter. And unlike my opponent, I believe Trump when he said that was a picture of him as a doctor. So much so that I will never go to a doctor again unless they're wearing the red sash doctor uniform. When my smoke alarm goes off, it's just the sound of Donald Trump's voice saying wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. You're gonna want me, the true Trump guy. Because when Trump commits a blasphemy, and we all know he does, I'm the only one in this race who doesn't care. So vote for me, Nandy Boris. Now, I'm not gay, but to me, Trump is always daddy.
And one thing that also must be mentioned, we saw in the case with Cory Mills, despite what was alleged, the fact that he's still in Congress and the fact that those kinds of allegations and charges are the kinds of things used to weaponize restrictions on disenfranchised communities, and in this case specifically the black community, or those who can't afford a proper lawyer or don't have the connections up the political chain to get things brushed under the rug. That's right. Like the fact that somehow they still bring up your drug arrest. But that hasn't stopped everybody, now has it? Steve Witkoff's son, Zach, co-founder of the Trump family's World Liberty Financial, was arrested outside a Miami nightclub in 2022 where police found coke in his pocket. Witkoff, then 28, was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and felony possession, but was never prosecuted. Imagine that. And that is the kind of, dare I say, discrimination that you would never speak to or call out, even though it's being weaponized against you right now. Just so we're clear, we have one congressman whose record is constantly brought up, another with fresh charges and allegations who's somehow chilling. And Byron can't say a word. That's a situation I like to call the Caitlyn Jenner.
Recently, I had my passport. I had to get it renewed. I sent it back. Comes back gender marker M. Screws everything up. So there's a form in there. If they made a mistake, you can correct it. So I fill out all the proper forms. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not calling the president. You know, I got his personal cell number. I'm not calling anybody. I'm going to see if I can fix this myself. Because it's not just about me. It's about all people in this situation. You know? So I even sent a hard copy of my birth certificate. Caitlyn Marie Jenner, gender, sex, female. I did everything. And they sent it back M. They didn't change it at all. So now I'm in a position Tommy, that what do?
Right.
This is a safety factor, okay? I can't travel internationally anymore, okay? I can't use my passport. I can use global entry. It says F. I can do this. I can travel in the United States, license, driver's license, pilot's license, everything, gender marker F. So it really creates a big problem. And I'm trying to figure out at this point what to do. I don't blame President Trump. I love him. But for a lot of people, this is a huge issue.
Huh. That's interesting. There was no reason to call anybody. Why don't you just comply? Like, why would you have to do anything other than what the rest of us have to do? Isn't that what y'all love to say? Live by the rules of society. Isn't that the whole right-wing thing? Here we go. This is awkward and uncomfortable. Oh, and another thing, Byron, before you go, Ron DeSantis is still on your helmet. Oh yeah, he ain't let that thing go. Florida SAVE Act requires candidates to disclose if they are a dual citizen or if they plan to have traded stocks in Congress. DeSantis blasts corrupt congressmen like Byron Donalds who trade stocks on inside info.
It requires candidates to disclose any dual citizenship they may possess. I think that's important that you know that as a voter. And then one of my favorites requires new and returning candidates for Congress to disclose stock trading activity while in Congress. And so what it'll be, so say, Joe Blow's running for Congress, you will have to say, I intend to trade stocks or I will not trade stocks. And you will have that information. And if they go and they say they're not, and then they do, then when they run again, they have to say, did I trade or not trade? And, the reality is it's gotten to the point where it's become a national farce, what goes on. When you have Nancy Pelosi outperforming people like Warren Buffett, when you have members of Congress, buying things and then, a week or two later, major events occur that causes those stocks to go up. It's one thing to hit the jackpot once in your life, but when you see it routinely for people that never had any financial acumen, all of a sudden show up to Congress and they become like, the best hedge fund managers in the country, something's wrong with that picture.
But wait, there's more. White men have been discriminated against through diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Wednesday after signing legislation which prohibits counties and cities from funding or promoting DEI initiatives. I got a question. Let me check something. Let me check something real quick. White men have been discriminated against by DEI. I'm looking at all the Florida governors here. Huh. So let me get this straight. He's going on an anti-DEI push in the midst of a gubernatorial race where a black man could become governor for the first time. Sound like a dog whistle to me. I heard that one. I heard that one. Oh boy. Oh man. Byron. He pulling out all the stops, ain't he? He pulling out all the stops. Next thing you gonna tell me is he gonna do anything possible to energize the Democratic base. Florida legislature passes redistricting plan creating 4 additional GOP-leaning House seats. Governor Ron DeSantis proposed the map this week. Florida is the 8th state to redraw its congressional map this election cycle. Now, there's a couple things that we know. One is that they will lose. When it comes to just about any other ploys that Maga and the GOP has tried to implement in order to silence the American people, they've all backfired. I have a video all about it. But another thing that we know is this gonna put a lot of heat underneath the seats of Democrats who otherwise might have sat out this gubernatorial election. Oh yeah, they coming out now.
Being 79, I come from a Jim Crow era where blacks were second class citizens. It will not happen again.
Emotions are running high here at the Florida State Capitol in Tallahassee, where Governor Ron DeSantis just proposed new maps that could add 4 more seats for Republicans and could greatly diminish the voices of Democratic voters.
It's just not fair, it's just not legal, it's just not right, it's not good for our democracy.
And this latest round of gerrymandering here in Florida brought Democrats from across the state here to the Capitol out in protest.
Hands off our maps! Hands off our maps!
Now, Republicans control the state House, the state Senate, and the governor's mansion here in Florida, which means that even though the legislature needs to vote on this proposal, it's widely expected to pass.
They're trying to dilute and get rid of those districts so they have any voice at all.
You could say one thing directly to Governor DeSantis right now. What would you tell him?
Get your hands off of our voting rights. I've just had enough of it, and I think all of us have.
I think he's trying to project strength by projecting control, but I think it's obviously coming from a place of weakness. I mean, if he had nothing to be scared of, he wouldn't have to do this.
And for some voters like Loman Oliver, who grew up during Jim Crow, he says this moment is drawing parallels to the disenfranchisement of his childhood.
I feel bad about it. Not for me, because I have a short time being here. But for my grandchildren, my great-grands, I do not want them going through what I experienced.